upon his understanding of vegetarianism is subjective to him. However, if we were to look at the objective teaching of vegetarianism, it's simple, it's the same. Now, bearing this in mind, and what I was telling the people, the sects you're talking about, all the sects
Get more complicated. Let's stay only.
no problem, because you said it, therefore I responded. Within Islam, regardless of whatever sect you are, you believe that there is only one God. In Islam, regardless of whatever sect you are, you believe that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the last prophet. In Islam, regardless of whatever sect you are, you believe that the angel of revelation was Jibreel alayhi salam. You believe that there are
The basics are the
the
same.
fundamental.
Then why are they fighting? The other day they were even fighting two different Islamic groups, fist fighting and talking about the mother and
Yes.
and these things. Why are
Yes.
they fighting so much?
You said your name Jamie, yeah?
Jamie,
So Jamie, regardless of even if we have a perfect way of living, human beings have something called free will. And if we have
Islam has a perfect way of living,
Islam comes with a perfect way of living, yes.
but you don't have a perfect way of living. Not all Islam has a perfect way of living.
No,
they
no.
are imperfect people, just like everybody.
But you're conflating two things. Islam is a perfect, primordial method from God. Human beings are not. Muslims don't claim to be perfect. We claim that Islam is perfect. Yeah. So bearing this in mind, because we have free will and because we are, affected by our environment, and you have political factors, you have cultural factors, you will have Islam, which is unchanged and which you can reference. However, people will be,
Interpretation.
you'll have interpretation, and you'll have ways that certain people that, for example, Henry VIII, as an example, Henry VIII wanted to,
His own purpose.
yeah, he had his own purpose to get certain children, like boys, and he wasn't getting that from his wife, and the Catholic Church was a problem for him. He created the Anglican Church, his own thing, which is even there today, the Church of England. But
But the same the Shia with the Sunni.
not necessarily.
To continue with the power, they say that the nephew or somebody was a.
But here's the thing though, it's not necessarily Shia Sunni, it's more to do with, say, Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now here's now you're getting somewhere. Now here's the distinction. Religion and politics, they are not to be confused. Now when something will be done politically, for example, I'll give you an example with Iran because you brought up Shias. Iran are angry, they are furious, but people assume with a very simple understanding why they are angry. Oh, because they are Shias and because they're Sunnism. False. If you understand basic politics and history, you will understand in 1950s, they had a democratically elected leader called Mohammad Mossadegh. And then, because of BP, nationalizing BP, UK and US did something called Operation Ajax, in which they removed him. They used money and they bribed people, and what they did was they removed a democratically elected leader. Afterwards came a dictator who for decades harmed the Iranian people, and the Iranian people, Jamie, were pissed. They were angry. They were furious. Yeah? Now you apply this, for example, in the Middle East with the Sykes-Picot Treaty. Have you heard of the Sykes-Picot?
No.
Sykes-Picot is after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the Britain, France, and less so Russia, they divide. Palestine, they give to the Jews. Yeah? This country, they give to the French. This, they keep to themselves. And they divide. There are countries. Iraq, they keep for themselves. Iran, they do this. And they divide the tribes to such a degree that the tribes start fighting. Till today, from what happened then, they started the whole Palestine issue because of the Balfour Declaration. Today they're fighting. Today people blame Islam. I say you don't know history. I say you don't know politics. Find out why. Find out why it started. The Durand line, the Radcliffe line, Kashmir, Pakistan, Afghanistan. I say, where did it start? Oh, very nice attire, sir. So when people start, let's give her some. Wait.
Certain things have to be perfect.
So then they begin debating.
Yeah, so when you start drawing boundaries and when you start drawing borders and you start dividing tribes, and you start funding one tribe over the other tribe. I can give you references, my friend. Here in the UK, 1920s, Lord Crewe, he's very high up in the British government. He said, we need the Middle East to stay divided. Oil, very important to cars run on oil, trucks run on oil, yeah, buses run on oil. Yeah, but it relies on batteries, and batteries rely on oil as well. Yeah, so all of these things come down to oil, and that's why all of these things I do. You should try the biryani.
Only one thing. Why you are a believer in God, I'm agnostic. But my question is, why doesn't God, instead of coming through intermediaries and this and there, and the Christian and the, why doesn't He come and say, hey, shut up everybody, this is the only religion, this is the only thing? Why He doesn't do that?
Yeah, I would say that this is an assumption of yours, and this is an assumption that I don't think gets challenged enough. And the assumption is, for us to be guided, God has to come and show us. I'll give you an example in science. Big Bang. No one saw the Big Bang, but yet scientists as a community are pretty much certain that the Big Bang took place. This is something that was not seen. This is something that was not heard or tasted or felt. But this is something that the scientific community accepts.
Mythology. You are talking science, and religion is a mythology. Myths. This is composed of myths.
Not necessarily.
Other religions are considered, if you look in the dictionary, they are mythology, myths.
You might be confusing some religions with Islam. For example, if you were to speak to a Hindu, if a Hindu was standing here, you might be right, because they believe that when their gods came in avatar form, a lot of things that happened were myths. You will be correct. And when it comes to certain things that Christ said, Christians also believe that there are certain things that were metaphorical. However, when it comes to Muslims, we don't believe and we don't kowtow and say that no, they were myths and they didn't take place. So I would request that when it comes to the Islamic position, it's different. When it comes to Islamic level of evidence, it's higher, I would argue, than Judaism, than Christianity, even Hinduism and Buddhism. For example, Jamie, if you were to burn every single holy book and remove it from the planet, the Quran is the only one that will be written word for word and reproduced entirely. Let me prove it to you.
I don't believe this is possible, because you have literature moments, literature passions through history. You have politics that interfere. You have artistic ways of talking.
Yes.
The language changes, like LOL didn't exist 50 years ago. And this is something that is impossible.
Yes.
And I consider that it's impossible that the word of the prophet is kept until today exactly like you say, like a perfect thing. I just don't believe. I just can't.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So now the burden of proof is on me to prove that, yeah? Now I will give you different forms of evidences, and let's see what you think about that. Let's just say at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, he is narrating the Quran and the Quran is being written down. Yeah? Now that manuscript that is being written down, there's a process within science called carbon dating. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Yes. So carbon dating is very important when it comes to archaeology, when it comes to history, when it comes to even manuscripts. The Jews don't believe that they have a manuscript that dates to the time of Moses. Christians do not claim, nor they believe they have a manuscript that dates to the time of Jesus. The Hindus do not claim that they have manuscripts that date to the time of their writing down through whichever avatar it is. They don't make that claim. Muslims do make that claim. And we have a manuscript that is dated to the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And this manuscript is not in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran. It's in this country and in the University of Birmingham. You might think, but who is checking this? Maybe Muslim, maybe they're biased, no problem. You can check everything, this is being recorded. University of Oxford have carbon dated this to the time of either the Prophet or when it was written down. So that's been verified. You might now say, like you said, it's been changed. There's been cultural differences, things have been added in and this and that. There were 4 folios, 4 folios, and they have concluded after comparing it with the Quran that we have today, bear in mind this is something from 1400 years ago, comparing it after carbon dating and checking the skeleton, they believe and they are saying there is 100% word accuracy.
And the changes of the language.
No changes.
But the language changed.
No.
The language has it changes in 5 years.
Focus, stick with me for one moment. What you're referring to is colloquial Arabic, not to be confused with Fusha Arabic. Now, Fusha Arabic does not change, nor whether it's a Christian Arab, whether it's a Muslim Arab. Everyone, when you say this to them, Fusha Arabic and colloquial Arabic, they are different. Yeah, colloquial Arabic, agreed, 100% Arabic has changed. Fusha Arabic is the language that we read the Quran in, and what we have tafasir, commentaries, that we also have manuscripts, so the meaning is also preserved. Dictionaries created from within 100 years of the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him, within one lifetime. Manuscripts, even for example, there's another manuscript, the Topkapi manuscript. We have only, that's like 99% of the entire Quran in one manuscript in the Topkapi Museum in Turkey. You can go there, book a ticket off peak, have a nice time there, you know, enjoy the ice cream when they play around with the ice cream and all that sort of stuff, get a cheap hotel and go to the Topkapi Museum, £40 for the ticket, go in and you can see it yourself.
So Iran has the same Quran than you?
So yes. So when
exactly the same?
Yes. That's what I said to you at the beginning. This is what I said to the lady.
Because when I was in Iran, they hated all the Sunnis. They wanted to kill the Saudis. And
they want to kill Saudis, and sometimes even Saudis want to kill Saudis. Yeah. Sometimes the mother of the Saudi wants to kill the son of the Saudi, and that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm saying is that on the one hand you have politics, and the reason why that will happen is, and just search this, it's that the British and the Western involvement when it comes to two families. Yeah, two families, getting them the Husseins and the Saud family or whatever it is, that was at the end of towards the end of the Ottoman Empire. They wanted to get the Saudis to fight against the Ottomans. Some people are in different camps, whatever, I'm not interested in that. What I'm telling you is that people were angry afterwards, that why did the Saudis contribute to the downfall of the Ottoman Empire? That's why you go in Turkey, they won't like the Saudis. However, the Saudis will say, what was left of the Ottoman Empire anyway? You guys weren't following the religion. You guys were a disgrace to the religion. So that's why the Saudis won't like the Turks. However, when you look politically, in some things they are aligned, some things they are not aligned. No problem, that's politics. You have even non-Muslim scholars like Karen Armstrong. She's written a book called Fields of Blood. Not a Muslim, not a Christian, not a Jew. She says, I have studied the Crusades, I've studied a lot of these things, even ISIS, and she says, my conclusion is these things are mostly political based, they are not religious based. So this is what I'm saying, Jamie, we need...
Does it say in the Quran that the Prophet flew to heaven in a white horse from Jerusalem?
So there's one...
Do you believe in this? Do you believe this is a fact?
Yes, we believe...
He flew in a...
We believe that there was an animal from heaven that came for the Prophet to fly him to heaven, to Jerusalem, and from there he went to the heavens. We believe in something called miracles, and miracles for somebody that we believe is all hearing, all seeing, he's the powerful. If we believe he created everything, which is a miracle in itself, if for us there's no issue in believing that he is able to do miracles. If you ask me, can I pick up, when I'm doing weightlifting, when I'm doing, one second.
F-35 jets.
One second. If I'm average strength, if I go to the gym, I put 20 aside and I try to bicep curl that, you might be impressed, you might not be impressed. If I put 2 on either side, you might be impressed, you're more inclined to be. If I put 5 plates on either side, you're thinking this guy is serious. Yeah, he is able, to do this. If you see a bodybuilder coming and doing that, you're not impressed. So if we believe God is all powerful, God has created everything, for God is nothing, it's kun fayakun, be, and it is. The issue is not, is God able to do this? The issue is, do we believe God exists? Because we believe God, yes. Well, not even faith, the inference to the best explanation. That's the argument. But you mentioned a few things and I want to address them. The other thing that you said was about sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him, yeah? How is it that we have the sayings of the Prophet today that were the same that was said 1400 years ago? You might say, oh, these are Muslims. Muslims say this. I'll give you the Muslim argument first. I can tell you that the Prophet said, don't kill women and children. I got this from Imam Malik. Imam Malik got that from Nafi. Nafi got that from Abdullah bin Umar. And Abdullah bin Umar got that from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet, peace be upon him. We know everybody in the chain. We know their name, family, tribe. We know their memory. We know where they lived. We know biographies have been written on them. That's why I say our criteria for the sayings of the Prophet are more stringent than the existence of Aristotle, because we only know about Aristotle from a few scanty sayings of Plato. Maybe we've got manuscripts of Plato about Aristotle or Socrates.
1,000 years before.
We don't know if Genghis Khan even existed. Yeah, but people
Part myth, part reality.
That's why I'm saying.
I think they are part myths and part reality. They make myths out of.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jamie. We have a manuscript, not like the oldest manuscript they have of the Bible is 300 years after Jesus. Yeah, Codex Sinaiticus. We have manuscript dating to the time of the Prophet. Even Hadith, we have a manuscript. Oh, he's going to Hadith now. What's he saying? Well, I'll tell you, the Sahifa of Hammam is the oldest manuscript that we have, dating within 50 years of the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him. You're thinking, yeah, but who's checked this? It's been checked, it's been carbon dated. You can check the manuscripts. One's in Damascus, Damascus, Muslim country, give me, okay, relax. One is in Berlin, non-Muslim country. I give you manuscript of the Quran, non-Muslim country, University of Birmingham. I give you the oldest manuscript of the Hadith. It's in Berlin, Germany, Guten Tag, from that place over there. Manuscript. You might say, I'm still not convinced. I'll give you a Christian scholar. It's like asking a person's ex-wife, was he a good guy? How is the ex-wife going to say he's a good guy? But I'll tell you, there's a scholar, you can search him up, called Marston Spite, Dr. Marston Spite. He saw the manuscript. Yeah, he analyzed the manuscript of Sahifa of Hammam, and he said, these are the narrations, like 99, yes, 90, like 136 out of 138 of those narrations in a manuscript can be found in the most authentic books, Bukhari, Muslim, yeah, the ones that we have today. So it's been cross-checked, cross-referenced, an old manuscript that's been found, checked by a Christian who doesn't want to prove Islam, and you can check this yourself, Dr. Marston Spite. He's checked this, and he said, yes, it's very accurate. It's very difficult to say that the companions forged it, made it up, or there were interpolations that were added in. I tell you that the Quran is more authentic than this, because every single verse of the Quran, when it was penned down at the time of Uthman, one of the criteria was 2 witnesses had to be present, seeing the companion write it at the time of, in the presence of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
It was written by the Prophet?
It was written because the Prophet...
He didn't know how to write.
That's why I said in the presence of the Prophet, not by the Prophet. That's why there's 2 witnesses.
Writers.
The Prophet, yeah. So the Prophet had 65 scribes that would write the Quran. We know their name, family, tribe. I can give you 5, 6 of their names just for free, no problem. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Khalid bin Walid, Muawiyah, Mu'adh ibn Jabal, Zayd bin Thabit, Thabit bin Qais. So, and the reason why I'm giving you these names is by showing you how passionate we are about our religion and how passionate we are about the preservation of our religion. Because what you said at the beginning, they are 100% fantastic. Yeah, they were legitimate concerns because of what other religions have said. But Islam, fortunately, is not like that. In terms of carbon dating, in terms of empirical evidence, for example, even if you're saying manuscripts, no, I can say we have a cave writing at the time, like this was within 12 years after the death of the Prophet. There's a cave writing which has been checked by UNESCO, yeah, which is a heritage site. They've checked the cave, they've checked the rock inscription, which says, I Zuhair am writing this at the time of the death of Umar. Now they checked it. Was it written at that time? Yes, indeed it was. Is it authentic? Yes, indeed it is. And on top of that, he was writing in Arabic, and that Arabic is the same Arabic, the use of diacritical marks is the same as the usage that we have of the diacritical marks today as well. So I'm saying in whichever measure that you use, and look, if I was making this stuff up, I would have switched these cameras off because it's embarrassing if I'm making stuff up. Yeah. So because we have these evidences, we come week in, we come week out, and we present these evidences, and they're very strong because I'm telling you, carbon dating, rock inscriptions, you've got the involvement of UNESCO, you've got the involvement of Dr. Marston Spike, Christian guy. Oh, but the Christians can't even prove using strong, solid sources that Jesus existed other than the Gospels. And the Gospels were written by anonymous people. The reason why I gave you name of scribes is because the first people that wrote the Bible, they don't know. They don't know their names. They were not professional scribes. And the way they would write the Greek, it would be no spaces, no capital letters, no full stops. But the Quran was written in a unique, special way to such a degree. Jesus spoke Aramaic. The Prophet spoke Arabic. Arabic is the top 5 spoken languages on the planet. Aramaic is an endangered language.
It's a dead language.
UNESCO says it's endangered. Few people have this.
To Greek, it was translated into many languages.
So Jamie, now that we've established that Islam has a different case when it comes to empirical evidence, when it comes to preservation of text, let me ask you, what evidence would you require, being a rational, logical individual, to believe in God?
Well, what you have said, yes, all the things I believe they could be to a very high degree accurate, but it still doesn't prove that it was exactly the words that the Prophet said, because you would need a tape recorder. But let me tell you things. I don't.
Come on, Jamie, that's a bit unfair. Tape recorder?
Yeah, well, that would be the only way to really be sure. But let me tell you.
Let me give you something better than a tape recorder.
I don't need somebody to be my intermediary.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I live happily, and
Happily ever after.
in my opinion, talking about the universe and talking about gods, extraterrestrials, is something that the human doesn't have the capacity to understand. Okay? So the religions try to make it to
Jamie.
humanize concepts.
Jamie, one second.
One moment. Like the concept of what happens after you die.
It's Jamie, because you're making good points.
God is there looking for you. If you
I'm going to forget your point, the points that you're making. I want to deal with them one by one. They're good points. So you're saying, as human beings, how can we understand all this? And it's very difficult.
I say we don't have the capacity to understand.
I say, if I had a scientist standing next to you, the scientist would be very disappointed with your approach, because as human beings, it is the fact that we don't understand the universe that motivates us to learn more about the universe. For example, the atom comes from the word indivisible. The first person that conceptualized the atom, it means something that can't be divided. However, as a human race, as human people, we did divide the atom. And we realized that the atom does indeed have a nucleus. And there are indeed protons. There are indeed electrons, neutrons. Then we found out that there are Higgs bosons, there are leptons, there are quarks in there as well. The more we look into it, if we just had this defeatist approach, we don't understand, let's just sit down, we don't understand artificial intelligence. That doesn't stop people from venturing and trying to understand and conquering artificial intelligence. We don't understand the universe. That doesn't stop us from, venturing out there and saying there could be wormholes.
I'm talking about death. There is no way you can understand what happens to you after death. If you're only dead or you go and travel in the space, there is no way. Nobody has gone and come back. Atom is a scientific approach that you can do. There is no scientific approach you can do with death to understand it.
Okay. So, death, like Big Bang, because somebody could argue no one was there at the beginning of the universe either, correct? but yet people are convinced that the Big Bang Theory is there. Why? There's no one saw it, no one put it under a microscope, no one fulfilled the criteria of science that is put today. However,
It's theory and accept the theory with the technology.
No,
of
it's a
what
really
you
good
study.
theory. I've
and
stud-
tomorrow will be another theory.
no, I don't think you're being just to the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory is a really good theory. Yeah, and the evidence, yeah, but theory in science means something different to how we use it in everyday language. Theory in science actually holds a very high standing. It's enough for you to use it and start, doing other things as well. So that's one thing. The second thing is Big Bang relies heavily on inference. You understand this, isn't it?
No.
Infer. For example, you look at the data and you come up with a conclusion by saying that the data is pointing in this direction, therefore we can conclude that this could have happened or that is most likely to happen. Then you bring another evidence forward, it strengthens that theory. For example, cosmic background radiation. Then redshift. Then when it comes to all of these stars lighting up, scientists are saying if universe there was there forever, therefore, at night time, surely it should be more lighter than it is because more light from the stars would have reached us. Point that I'm trying to say is there's a lot more evidence for the Big Bang. Now, bearing testimony, bearing this thing in mind, we do the same thing. We say, with our limited experience, when we see everything, do we believe, and when we see stuff, do things come by chance? You say, not in my experience. Do things come by themselves? Not in my experience. In your experience, do things get created? So yes, that's the logical understanding. Okay. Then when you see, and when you are to determine who's created it, okay, there needs to be people making that claim. Like, who are the claims? Let's analyze that claim. Okay. The claim is embalmed in the holy books, more so in the Quran. The Quran makes that claim. Okay, let's start analyzing the books. Who makes the strongest logical, rational, philosophical case? I'll give you a philosophical, because science doesn't claim.
Adam and Eve, and that then God took the rib. This is in the Islam. Took the rib from the woman and made from clay, made the man. And then the serpent came and talked to the woman and gave an apple. And then the sins of all the humanity. Is this science?
You've been reading too much Bible.
Well, this is a Genesis.
There's no apple in the Quran.
It's not in the Quran.
Apple is not mentioned in the
Adam
Quran.
is not in the Quran. Only
Adam.
Adam, not the apple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the whole story.
That's the problem. People assume that the Quran copied from the Bible, but when we go to that argument,
It's based on the Bible in a certain extent.
not necessarily.
Adam, Moses.
Atonement is very important atonement is very important principle when it comes to the Bible. The Quran refutes it. Trinity is very important when it comes to the Bible. The Quran refutes it. Original sin, very important to the Bible. Quran refutes it. Why is the Quran copying if not for these very important doctrinal issues?
But then it took certain parts of the Bible,
No,
like Adam, like Moses.
It's not
Like
certain
Abraham.
parts. What you're doing is, let me tell you, we believe that once upon a time the Bible was correct. But certain things were added, taken away, that the Bible became corrupt. For us, there's no issue believing certain elements of the Bible are correct. How do we measure that? By using the Quran as the measure. So if the Bible is talking about Adam, no problem, we talk about Adam. But to say that we copied, then the burden of proof is on you. You have to prove for somebody. If they make that claim or it's based, then they need to evidence that there is some foul play taking place, some copying, pasting taking place, which is not the case. We do believe that the concepts overlap. For example, when Jesus is saying, my Father is greater than I, my Father is greater than all, or when he's saying that, the Father is the only true God, Luke 19:27. We have no issue with that. But when it comes to the Trinity verse in the King James Version, that was there. Muslims said no. The Quran disagrees with that. However, in the New International Version, that verse got taken out. Think about it, the only Trinity verse in the Bible was taken out in the New Version. So the Bible is changing. So when people are saying we're taking from the Bible, I say, which Bible? There's so many different there's so many different versions. But when it comes to the Quran, there's only one version. There's only one. We have no issue with that. Somebody can come and they can disagree with if you like Saudi, if you like Iran.
You're admitting that the Quran, the Islam, was Jewish religion, the Bible, okay, and they took some parts and they put others.
Say that again.
But the Islamic religion,
Yeah.
it was originally the Jewish religion,
No.
where they took parts and put other, to take them.
No, we don't believe this.
Then why do you have all this? No, they are not historical. Those are myths. That's not history. History is written by historians. The Bible was written by prophets. You're talking about mythology and history. They're completely different things.
Okay, let's
That's not history. That's mythology.
let's stick with the point, yeah? So what I'm saying is that an accumulation of evidence, whether it's through inference, whether it's through philosophy, whether it's through logic, reason, deduction, they strengthen the case of God. That's why I said, when you take the inference to the best explanation, the only non-contradictory and the most rational argument is God. Otherwise, I'll tell you some of the alternative arguments that people postulate. They say, oh, God, the creator of all this design and everything is ridiculous, is preposterous. So, okay, then what's not ridiculous? Nothing. So what do you mean nothing? Yeah, the universe came from nothing. So nothing made something from nothing, created everything, and then we were here, and we started thinking about everything, and then when we die, we become nothing. The same nothing that created the universe. And this is supposed to be the best theory that the most intelligent minds come up with? No. That's why Aristotle believed in God. That's why Charles Darwin, when he formulated the theory of evolution, he didn't discard God. His contemporary, a Christian contemporary called Asa Gray, she carried on believing in God, and so did he. He became agnostic, but he didn't reject God. Georges Lemaitre, when he formulated the early stages of the Big Bang Theory, he didn't disregard God. Isaac Newton, when he formulated gravity, he did not discard God. He came up with the best book, well, one of the best books in Western circles, the Principia Mathematica. He was not somebody that disbelieved in God. Even Spinoza, yeah, whatever way he wants to describe God, he does believe in a God. Even Richard Dawkins, you know, one of the most celebrated atheists, even he says that when you look in creations, it does indicate a designer. But the question now arises, what explains that design? They have to come up with another theory. The string theory, no evidence. Multiverse theory, no evidence. Evolution, meh, it's doing its job, but no one claims it's fact. Big Bang, you yourself says, doesn't claim it's fact. So what I'm saying is, when you look around and you see design, not just any design, objective design, yeah, objective design like butterflies. You see symmetry. You see on your face, yeah, symmetry. You're a handsome man, yeah. You have.
See God. That's where I see God.
It indicates that there has to be a God.
When I go to Africa to a safari and I see the wildlife, that's where I see God. Okay, that's where I see the creation of God. Okay, but where I want to go is that I accept what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't accept the vision that the religion gives of a God who is in a cloud, looking at what we're doing and creating things, and then making explosions and making earthquakes, and then depending on his humor, you know. And now I'm going to send a hurricane there. I mean, there is some
I'm gonna say something.
Nature.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna surprise you.
A recycling system of I don't know. I don't speak.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna surprise you.
She's in the cloud looking at us.
The God you described, I don't believe in that God either. I don't believe in that God.
It's something much more complicated.
I don't believe he's a grandpa with a giant beard throwing thunderbolts. That's the depictions of Zeus that they have. I don't believe that it's an avatar that's come down, that's blue, that shoots arrows and does this sort of stuff. No, of course not. I don't believe that. And certain views have been popularized more by certain cultures and societies. But I'll tell you the Islamic definition of God. It's in the Quran, and you're more than welcome to refute that. We say, and this is in the third chapter from the end of the Quran. Yeah, Surah Ikhlas. Say He is God the One, the Independent. He does not beget, nor is He begotten, and there's none like Him. That's our definition of God. What do you think about this definition?
No, I have another question. Do you really believe that God has a name?
God, yeah, there's a name that He's given us. Yeah.
I just don't believe He has a name.
And you're more than welcome to believe that, but I'm more interested in you believing in God rather than His name.
Nice, like making it tangible. Hey, He has a name. His name is this, His name is that. Jesus Christ here. Touch Him. You can touch Him in the cross.
But here's the thing, Jamie. When it comes to names, human beings communicate by knowing the names of things. That's just linguistics. If you study the basics of linguistics, you'll know for us to even entertain a language, we have to know names. So if God has taught us the names of, or you might have a different explanation of everything that's around us, and He's missed His name out, it just doesn't seem sensible. That everything else has a title, has a name. That's a tree, that's grass, this is a handsome man, you're a more handsome man. And we have all of these things. But when it comes to God, it's just silence.
Tangible. It's intangible.
It's intangible, but we're tangible. Our worship is tangible. So we need something tangible. So if we're referring to God, say, oh, if you're there, please listen to me. Not even what's your name, because that's asking a name and assuming He does have a name. So if He doesn't have a name, it just complicates things. For example, you meet. Sometimes I'm speaking to people and I ask their name. They don't want to give me their name. I say, look, you don't have to give me a name, but let me call you something so it flows. Say Jamie. So if I say mate, or bro, bruv, cuz, if I say these things, it spoils the flow. If we're praying to God, we're worshipping Him, and there's a gap, it's impractical. It's not something that suits our existence in life. It doesn't suit something that God would do. But here's the other thing I wanted to say, Jamie, as well, that as a rational, logical person, is there anything that you've, in your experience that you've had, have you ever wandered somewhere and you see something in your travels and said, you know what, this came by chance over millions of years? For example, you saw a phone somewhere, you saw a painting somewhere, you saw something and you said, wow, this came over millions of years, like this microphone, jumper, jacket, shoes. Have you ever thought that? You ever said that about something that's created?
Yes. Just humans killing each other. Okay, and destroying the whole ecosystem created by gods of gods. What I see is that all the religions, tell us that we are the creation of God, that we are so special, and when we are good and if we pray at God, He will give us rain and He will have a lot of food. Yes. And when we are bad, He's going to punish us. Yeah. He's not going to give us rain. All the religions tend to make us think that we are so unique, that we deserve to take over all the species, to take over all the planet. And the only thing that this is taking us is to self-destruction of the planet. So this is why I can't accept a religion.
I would agree with your statement if you said certain religions. But if we compare the religions, I don't think you can make the argument for Islam that you can for other religions.
So why are the Islam all fighting with each other?
That's because
of the West, only the
politics. I'll give you an example. Before America, and I can give you the book. It's called Dying. It's by Pape. It's called Dying Hope or something. Yeah, it's a study. It's a study done by Professor Pape. He looked at all of the data, with regarding to Iraq. And he said, how many suicide bombs were there after America invaded and before America invaded? They concluded and they realized that before America invaded, 0. After America invaded, hundreds. And it started getting more and more and more and more. Before the Balfour Declaration and the issue between the Palestinians and the Jews, or the Zionists, whatever you want to call them, if you look at what happened in the land, they were living harmoniously. There were very little issues, and the issues were like the issues that we see here and there. However, when it came to land, when it came to borders, that's when it started becoming killing. You look in Pakistan, the border. When just one second, I'm giving you a few examples. Then you can give me other examples to refute that, and I will be more than happy to respond to that. When it comes to what's going on, these are very popular conflicts that are taking place today, and they are most, if not all, to do with land. That's all it is. People, for example, Osama bin Laden, you're probably aware of him. His main manifesto and his main issue was this. It was to do with land. It was one of his issues was America had a military base in Saudi Arabia, and he was furious with this. America has the most military bases, has the most military expenditure. It's the only country that's dropped atom bombs, and it's the country that claims to have the monopoly on human rights when it has, despotic regimes and despotic ways, for example, torture and extradition and all of this sort of stuff that is not present in the Muslim world. In the Muslim world, for example, you will not see adultery. Adultery gets punished in Muslim countries. Here, adultery doesn't get punished.
Why don't you go to Dubai?
I'll answer that. But let me make the point. Adultery doesn't get punished. Here, what does get punished is cycling in the bus lane. That's what gets punished. Yeah, putting your parents in the old people's home doesn't get punished, but defacing a statue does get punished. As for me moving to Dubai, why do I need to move to Dubai?
Just go to see the adultery.
The Prophet, listen. The Prophet was born in Mecca. Yeah, Mecca had a lot of polytheism that happened. The Prophet stayed in Mecca. However, it's only when they were driving him out, he left. And when he looked back, he said, I would not have left you, but it was only because the people had driven me out. Now, I say the same thing. I was born in this country. I was raised in this country. I know the culture. I love the people. I understand the culture. I understand the people. I've studied here. I benefit a lot of people here. People benefit me. There's no reason for me to leave.
No. I never say this. I said, you say there is no adultery in Islam? Go to Dubai and you will see, you have to go only for a weekend. You see there. And in Saudi Arabia.
I agree with you. I will not defend. I will not defend Dubai. I will not defend Saudi Arabia. But one thing, yeah, I know. But one thing, no, it is a problem. But one thing I'm saying is, my point was this: punishment of adultery. I didn't say.
Why should you punish if two people want to have sex? Why you think it should be punished?
You think any two people can have sex?
Yes.
Any two people?
Yes. If somebody wants to have sex and it's a voluntary, it's not a forced sex, why not?
Okay. So if you have two sons and they both want to have sex, are you going to tell them have sex?
Is there a problem?
So just tell me you are okay with your two sons having sex.
You are the owner of the morality.
So you're okay?
No, I'm not saying you're okay.
I want to ask you. That's my question.
Situation.
Okay, I'll give you the situation.
It was a hypothetical question you are making.
And I want an honest answer.
Probably I wouldn't like it.
Why not?
But it's up to them.
So you would allow that?
Because my custom. No, I'm not saying about that. Because my custom and my culture tells me that this is wrong. So maybe for me it's a taboo. Okay. Just
who came up with culture? Who came up with culture?
Completely different concept.
Who came up with culture?
Go to Norway and all the women are.
Who came up with culture? Who came up with culture?
Yeah.
I'm asking you. Who came up with culture?
Who came up with culture? What do you mean?
Who decides what's culture?
it is decided through times, passions, moments, influence of politics, literature, art.
Who decides it?
Not one person.
People.
It's a concept of people.
Right.
Yeah?
So you take your morality from a group of people and you say, because of my custom, I wouldn't do it. I take my morality from the creator of the heavens and earth that has more comprehensive knowledge than a few people that have a very narrow view of what's going on in their society. That's why I think this morality is a better map than the one that you're offering.
I just don't see the point.
According to your one, your two sons can have sex.
Is there a problem?
No, but you're admitting it's a problem.
Is there a problem? Is whatever they
So it's a problem. Why is there a problem?
I didn't say, well, I mean,
said is there a
there a problem? Is there a situation? Maybe I use the wrong word. Okay. Is there a situation? Anyway, I'm not talking about my two sons. I'm talking about generally speaking.
Okay.
Because
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
If a woman wants to have sex with a man, what is the problem?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If we're living in a society that fathers have intercourse with their daughters, and this is a society that accepts it, and you read books that's accepted in there, do you see yourself doing that same thing?
Well, I will tell you. I don't know. I don't know a lot of culture, but during the Greek times, okay.
Would you do it? Would you do it?
About Aristotle, in those times, homosexuality between men was very accepted. In the times of Julius Caesar, let me tell you this. This is a very interesting story. In the times of Julius Caesar, it was accepted for mature, rich, and powerful men to have a young male lover. But it was not accepted for other people. It was a culture in those times. Okay? Today, maybe this could be a taboo in our society. In those times, it was. That's the way life is.
So bearing that in mind, my question to you was, if today's culture and society is you having intercourse with your daughter, would you do it?
Well, let me tell you. I understand. I
Yes, you
understand. Let me answer. Okay.
You would.
Huh?
You would do it.
Let me explain you. I understand. No. There is.
Be honest.
There is a concept. There is a concept. No. I wouldn't like to have a sex.
If
with my
it
daughter.
was
But there is a
society,
concept, there is a
society
concept.
accepted it,
There is a concept.
and if it was normal,
There is a concept in communication. The scientists say that there is a communication between that they reject each other.
They don't.
Brothers, sisters,
They don't.
fathers, That they physically reject.
They
I
don't.
don't like my sister. I don't like my family. I like
What if
other
you like the-
because the procreation.
What if you like
The procreation is better for the humans between separated. Not
That's a theory, like you said.
Not sisters, not cousins. No, yes, it's not a
theory.
theory. It's a reality.
No,
They
you
degenerate
can't
and they
change.
become stupid.
It's not reality.
Yes, they
That's why
become
we've got
stupid.
incest taking place. That's why in the past incest was so rife, because this is not something that's ingrained within us. This is something that comes from an objective source. But again, I ask you, if you find your daughter attractive and there's nothing wrong with it, you're attracted to her, she's attracted to you, nothing is stopping you, would you have intercourse with your daughter?
Well, you're talking about incest, and I'm talking about sex, what you call.
This is a type of
about
sex.
between a man and a woman.
It's a type of sex. Would you be okay with it? What's the harm?
Well, if I like to do it, I will do it. If I don't like it, I will not do it.
That's the problem. You see, this is the problem.
What's the problem? Why is the problem?
This is the problem because if you base your morality on society,
Okay,
society
if I
changes.
want to have with a woman that is over there that is very attractive, that any woman that is very attractive, everybody wants to have her. Okay. So, is that wrong also?
Yes, it's wrong
Why?
because consent is important. You need to ask her consent.
Yeah, I'm talking. She likes me. I like her.
And now you're adding.
Problem.
Now the problem is that is she young? Is she a 6-year-old?
Well, the prophet had a wife that was 6 years old, right?
No, he didn't.
How old? What was her name?
So you're okay with that then?
I am asking you. The prophet. Had
And I said no. And then I asked you a counter question. Said, are you okay with it?
It's up to the times. Maybe in the times of the prophet was the most natural.
Well, there you go. You've answered it then, isn't it? But my question, yeah,
I already answered all the.
Yeah,
asking
but-
me.
right. So, but my point is,
Why did you refuse the thing about the prophet having a wife that was very, very young?
I already told you she wasn't 6.
She was what?
She wasn't 6. I answered your question straight away.
But she was very young.
Yeah. But she was mature, yeah.
She was 50 something.
She was young.
She was very young.
Yeah, she was 9.
So what is the problem with that?
No, I'm saying, are you following the morality of the Prophet?
No, I'm not.
Because you brought it up when I asked you a question about your morality. You responded with the morality of the Prophet.
No.
So then why did you bring it up then?
About the morality of different times. There was a time.
No, I'm asking you about this time.
About the Pericles century in the Greece. I talked to you about Rome, and I talk to you now about the.
No, we weren't. We were talking about the.
I'm talking to you about the times of the Prophet. That today in our society that looks wrong. Okay, today in our society it looks okay if you fuck any girl, okay, that she wants to have sex with you and you want to have sex with her. But we see it as something wrong to marry a girl that is a little girl.
Yeah. But my point to you is this, that according to our morality, if you just approach a woman by herself and then you riz her, you start, what's the word for riz? When you start chatting her up and you start, dropping these lines, the thing is, there's an element of manipulation there. So we say that the girl's or the woman's wali, or her father, her brother needs to be involved, so there is no foul play taking place where you are not lying and you are not, trying to, do certain things to get into her, into her pants or whatnot. So our morality is different. But my point was that if your morality is reliant upon culture, culture changes. Tomorrow culture might say you can eat human beings. Tomorrow culture might say...
There have been times where the people were eating human beings.
But the point that I'm saying is that here's where morality takes a nosedive for atheists, because your morality relies on what individuals with a very limited understanding have an opinion about things. But I'm saying that's a very weak source of morality, when certain people that are living in their limited areas with a limited understanding are saying this is right and this is wrong.
Well, I would say it's a limited understanding of morality to take the morality of what somebody said 1,600 years ago, that they have a different concept of the morality. You cannot bring, I don't think you have to bring the 1,000 from the 1,000 to the
No, but we're not.
today.
We're not saying that you're taking the morality from an individual of 1,400 years ago. We're saying you're taking your morality from a system that individual conveyed to us, which is Islam. That's the morality, and that morality comes from God. Doesn't come from people. You made a good point before where you said you don't want an intermediary between you and God. In Islam, we say the same thing. We don't believe that you should rely on somebody else to gain a connection to God. You can, pray in the park. You can pray, at the entrance of Marble Arch. You can raise your hands here.
They even had police. If you were not praying at the time that they say, the police, what they call the religion police.
Yeah.
Saudi, in Iran.
Yeah, but my question would be...
A religious police?
Yeah, but my question would be, why is that morality wrong and your morality right?
I don't say my morality is... I never said that morality is wrong, and I never said my morality is right. I just said that you are calling adultery when you have sex with a woman. You call it adultery, you think it should be punished, because that's what you were talking, okay? And if I find a nice woman and I want to be with her, and she wants to be with me, first of all, I wouldn't even call it adultery. Just having fun, having a good time.
Go on.
What are your views on pedophilia?
Huh?
What are your views on pedophilia?
What about pedophilia?
No, I'm asking you.
Pedophilia, there was a tribe in the pre-Hispanic world. Let me tell you a story. There was a tribe, the name
put this here,
the Tutunacas. Purepecha tribe, before the Spanish came to America, and the royalty would have, when they had a guest, he would come, they put him in bed, and in the bed they would have two very tiny little boys having oral sex for your guest. That was the custom in those times. that was the culture in those times.
That's fine. I'm asking you personally.
Personally, my culture, I wouldn't like to have that.
How would you, if you were seeing it right now, how would you feel? If you saw it right
I
now?
would say that's repulsive because you are getting somebody who doesn't have the mature in the brain to do something that is going to be harmful during his lifetime. I mean, I don't think that's correct. Okay.
No, but your reasoning is flawed because
But if you have sex with somebody has nothing to do that I have, and I consensual sexual with another girl.
no, wait, one sec.
Okay, you want the kids. I
But-
told you that a culture.
No, but if you're
like
talking
the kids
about if
or
you're
have sex with the kids.
one sec. If you're talking about the brain being formed, the brain doesn't fully develop till the age of 25. Then, according to your methodology, anyone that's having sex before 25 should be a
I never
pedophile.
said the age 25.
You said the development of the brain.
I was talking about a little creature. Maybe they were 3-4 years old.
So now you're talking about height. Are you talking about height? Or are you talking about maturity?
4 years old of the kids that they were. That was a fashion in those times. What I'm telling you is that there are different cultures in this world.
You know, but
Okay.
he's asking you about what you think right now, not about what happened back in the days.
I already answered.
And that's why I'm saying your premise is
It's not
flawed.
my taste because it's not my culture. If I had been born in those times in the pre-Hispanic era, maybe that was a fashion, that was a culture, and that was
Yeah, but your reason's flawed.
Okay,
You're saying the brain is not
that's
developed.
now. So right
Yeah.
now you'll be angry, yeah? If you saw it right now, it would put you off.
I already told you why.
Yeah, okay.
Because you are
Okay.
forcing
Okay,
an
no,
immature brain.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, and I answered the
Okay.
brain thing as well.
Now, the way things are going, in 10, 15 years' time, in this country, it will become legal. The way things are going, in this country, it will be legal to be pedophilic. Like, be a
I don't know. I don't
So-
think so. I don't
No,
think. No. How are you going
Clearly-
to? How are you going to predict
I'll tell you how-
that
I'll tell
in
you
this
how-
country,
I'll tell you how-
15 years,
I'll tell you
pedophilia is
how-
going to be
I'll tell you
legal?
how. 50 years ago, homosexuality.
It has nothing to do with a
Yeah.
prediction of 15 years. I mean, okay,
Let me just
tell
take
me
this.
how much is going to be the Bitcoin in 15 years if you're such good for predictions.
about-
Tell me stocks. Tell me stocks so that I buy stock in the market.
Yeah.